best entertainment on the earth. Tune in for Comics with Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. I'm admitting going into this that this is a conspiracy theory type thing. Okay, this is a what if. So again, this my preface. You know, I'm not. This isn't me saying the world is exactly this way, or this is a hardened belief, or this is this is just an idea that popped into my head. But I'll throw it out there because I think there's some merit to it. So one of the things that's going on right now is we're starting to get a lot of articles, and they're kind of happening all right away, of how bad the comic industry is doing, or rather, how the comic industry is getting its ass handed to it by manga and YA. And we've seen sort of this before. We did get a lot of articles in 2016. You may have forgotten them, about how YA was dominant and YA was kicking everything's ass, and definitely kicking that Marvel DC superhero ass. Manga wasn't in the picture at that moment for a lot of these articles, but it was happening in 2016, and this is important. 2015, 2016. If you go back to The Beat and Bleeding Cool and some of these, you had a lot of articles talking about how YA was absolutely devastating everything. So why? We'll get to that, but so right now you're seeing a lot of, suddenly after 2 years of everything is absolutely amazing and incredible. And if you walked into a comic store, clearly that seemed divergent from reality. If you talk to actual comic shop owners, ones that are real life and not faceless people on the internet, if you talk to real life people, they will tell you that they shorted orders, things aren't doing very well, the events weren't selling. I mean, one of the more absolutely head spinning things I remember was going in and visiting friends and talking to a lot of people, and going to retailer groups on Facebook that had like 90 retailers, which is a lot. There's a bunch of efforts going on right now to figure out how many comic shops actually exist in the U.S. I will tell you, for new comic shops selling new comics in 2021 or 2020, having a group of 90 to 100 people, you've got a sizable chunk of shops. You've got a really good representation, far better than Comics Hub and some of the information that comes out. But in talking to a lot of those people, I remember very clearly that Empire was selling terribly. It was not working. People are excited. Ten of Swords started hot, but then dropped. But Empire was kind of DOA in a lot of ways for the comic. Now, if you remember that was coming right out of the pandemic, and you had Empire, and it was because previewed before the pandemic and actually launched after the pandemic. So it was kind of, the timing was all screwed up. So common sense would tell you, yeah, it's not going to do well, just based on when it came out. But if you went online, you would see people on the comic news sites talking about how it was selling huge. And I remember one of the estimates before they stopped doing those and then quietly took them away, showed that Empire, I think number 1 or number 2 or something, they put numbers up like it was selling 180,000 copies, basically outselling things like Secret Wars and Secret Invasion and other events. There was no way it was selling that. There's no way. No retailer in the group can confirm. In fact, they were trying to move books. And just, again, think about it logically. The shop had been shut down for COVID in many of these locations, particularly the big ones, California, Pacific Northwest, Northeast. In those areas, the shutdowns were more aggressive. Not like Texas or Florida. There's certainly comic shops in those places, but big bulks of shops are in California. That is the biggest market in terms of per capita comic shops. So anyway, so that never made any sense, that argument. So the news articles for 2021, 2022 continue this narrative of it is a comic boom. Things are going better than ever. Comics are flying off the shelves. Orders are super high. We've had a renaissance and resurgence. The challenge with that is there were never facts to back it up. The facts were, hey, we talked to a friend of the news site who runs this one comic shop who says everything is great. I remember visiting one of the comic shops at Bleeding Cool regularly, sites and kind of they're talking to retailers, and it was the walking into the shop, again, same two eyes, and talking to people in the shop did not match what was coming out in the article. Just didn't match. And it's not, it's easy to say, hey, I only see 3 comics on the shelf. And they're like, well, there's 50 in the back and we're slowly feeding them out. Fine. Shops do that all the time. But when the lie gets so huge, like I moved 500 copies of a comic. All right. Again, talk to any retailer and say, when was the last time you moved 500 copies of a comic? There's a lie and there's an insane lie. And when you get into insane lie territory, it's that, and that's where a lot of these things went. It wasn't just, hey, here's some comics available for sale. It was, the comics are selling better than they've ever sold in the past. The lie got just bigger and bigger and bigger, or in the name of the news, the big lie continued. So that's kind of where this is going on. So now suddenly we're in 2023. And it's almost like we get a complete reversal. Now we're getting articles that are pointing out something that this channel and others pointed out, for years, which is, hey, if you go to the Amazon bookseller list or you look at actual data and facts we have, you'll notice that stuff's not doing terribly well. If you go to Amazon and you search under graphic novels and you see what's number 1, you will see that the stuff that typically dominates the top 10 are older books. It's Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns is up there. Watchmen is up there. And then when a new graphic novel comes out, it pops up to the number 1 spot or in the top 10 for, I don't know, a heartbeat. And then it immediately drops. And that makes sense. Something new comes out, a bunch of people order it, bounces up the chart. But by the next day, it's plummeted. Like this isn't a deep conspiracy about how comics work or whether they're woke or not woke. It's just common sense. This is how products are sold. So, it is a bad sign for a comic industry when you look at the top 10 books, comic graphic novels, and you notice in the overall book charts that they're down in the thousands, even that top 10, and that top 10 are all 10 years old or more. It means new product isn't coming in to replenish the classics. So that's the problem. So why are these news sites suddenly in 2023 starting to point out what a lot of us have been pointing out for some time? Why suddenly comics are doing bad? There's this is on the beat, and suddenly here's an article written that says, it appears that 15 of the top 20 is intended for children or middle readers. The other 5 of the top 20 are manga. And if you're looking for a Marvel DC style superhero comic, and there's the clue, you are not even in the top 250. In fact, the first DC superhero comic to appear in and is at 257 with Batman Year One. Jinkies. Christ, I hate that stuff. I'm sorry. I absolutely, you're not, Jinkies. Okay, here. It popped to the mouth and saying that. Anyway, and then they point out that Marvel, their first appearance on the list is at 483 with Moon Knight by Lemire. So anyway, first of all, that listing is wrong, like flat wrong. I mean, the data is incorrect, but leave that be that as it may. It's actually not that bad for Marvel and DC, but it's still very bad. Okay, but this isn't a new picture. This is the same picture we've been seeing for a while. Even during the huge boom of last year, this is what it looked like. And again, these are facts. These are facts you can look for yourself. So here comes my conspiracy crazy comment. So why is this? Why are people now suddenly coming in to say, superhero comics are dying? And notice in all the articles, and watch for yourself and go to the Beat and these other places, that is how they list it. They do not say, Western comics are dying. They don't say Marvel and DC to some extent are dying. They highlight superhero books are dying. And here's my perspective. In 2016, we had the same thing happen. But they talked about how YA was dominating and superheroes may be over. The superhero boom may be coming to an end. And then the Marvel movies came out and made $1 billion, and it's like, whoa, maybe not. But here's my perspective. I think, again, conspiracy theory, I think that this is an effort to basically pave the way and say, hey, all you a-holes out there who are insisting that we get classic traditional superhero stories, you're wrong. See, superhero books are dying. YA and slice of life and webtoon type comics, social type comics, those are dominating. So all you people out there are saying we need a return to the classics, a classic 80s style Superman or Batman or X-Men or all the rest. All you people are saying you don't like the current Hickman era, it's Krakoa era. Hickman's gone now. All you people saying that you want to see the X-Men return to how it was in the 80s, you're wrong, because superhero books are dying. See, the numbers prove they're dying. Because so many of these articles are not written to present facts. They're written to say, we're right and you're wrong. It's written to say what you're asking for is incorrect. And I think that's where suddenly we're seeing this flip. Because this news is not news. This was the news for the last 3 years. It's just, it was buried because we wanted to own the chuds by talking about how comics are doing better than ever. Well, now it's impossible to ignore the comics are doing better. So the lie has shifted. Now the lie is, no, the problem isn't that the comics are filled with characters eating and, putting costumes on animals and having that be the comic or any of that kind of stuff. The problem is not, that we're not telling classic Captain America or Spider-Man stories. The problem is we're not doing enough in this area. The problem is we need to double down on YA, webcomic, those type of themes. You guys who are asking for classic superhero stories, well, you're a loser. It's failing. See, all these comics are dying. Nobody wants superhero comics anymore. They want Jeff the Land Shark. They want Titans eating food. That's what they want. Clearly, that's what they want. Look at the top charts. Because one other way, if you look at, again, observe this for yourself, when people talk about manga, they don't talk about My Hero Academia. They don't talk about, to a large extent, One Piece or Demon Slayer or books like that. They highlight they're really excited about Spy X Family. Well, I love Spy X Family. I think it's great. But guess what? I think if you're trying to make an argument that superhero comics are dead and we should never tell a classic X-Men story again, you might point to Spy X Family and say, see, what people really want is family drama and some kind of hijinks around the mom trying to hide that she's an assassin from the dad. It's not about the action. It's about the, her learning how to cook and fail. Like that I think is the plan here. These articles are not written to accurately talk about what's going on in the industry. The articles are written to own you, to basically say you're wrong, we're right, and to say, hey, all this kind of goofy shit that we're doing that's the right way. Hey, that these comics that we write, the problem with, Daughter of Blade, too much action in it, not enough daughter in it, not enough daughter in school being rebellious. That's the problem. That's what people want. Because if I look at YA books, a lot of YA books are the scholastic stuff. It is stuff like, trying to figure out how to be a babysitter and kind of the interpersonal drama between the kids. And it should be, because those books are marketed at 8 and 9-year-olds who are interested in that, interested in their friend groups, interested, and in particular for girls. My 9-year-old daughter loves the Babysitter Club books. And when you read them, they're well-constructed stories, but they are definitely aimed at, a 9-year-old girl who is, interested in, boys are kind of icky and they're looking for responsibility and they're trying to learn moral lessons about stealing and that kind of stuff. That's what they're all about. And that's perfectly suited for that. But the thing is to say, hey, see, superhero comics are dying, that's the way to go, I believe is an excuse not to try and make a good superhero book, but to say, yeah, Superman, Batman, Justice League, the Avengers should be more like that. Should be more like, we should have more, they should enter a cooking competition. That's what we need. Anyway, that's my crazy half-baked theory. Because there has been a dramatic shift over the last 3 to 4 months. Suddenly, the comic industry is doing the best it's ever done, has fallen off a cliff. Well, hopefully, as you all know, that's not how business works. It doesn't just vanish one day. So, I believe this is just another way and I predict right now you're going to see a lot of tweets and a lot of people over the next couple months saying, all you chuds, all you incels asking for superhero books, you guys clearly, your stuff doesn't sell. It doesn't actually work. What works is this slice of life stuff. So we just need to get to doing more of that. Anyway, let me know. What do you think? Half-baked theory? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for listening.